Because I have a heart condition, I am not suitable for childbirth. My husband and I have been living a dink life for 7 years. But one day, the nanny at home told me she was pregnant. At that time, I discovered that my husband had had sex with the nanny many times behind my back. I was so angry that I went straight to my husband to argue with him. However, my husband comforted me, saying, "Sophia is carrying my child. I cannot abandon her, but you will always be my only wife. Her status will not surpass yours. Don't be willful. You are not in good health. We need to have an heir for the family. You have to be generous. We're both over 30. Sophia is still a young girl, and she's pregnant. After the baby is born, I'll spend more time with you." I clenched my fists. I made up my mind to emigrate. Either she goes, or I go. You decide. Alexander. I asked Alexander to choose. He just looked at me. He didn't say anything for a long time. Olivia, don't do this. Sophia is less than 3 months pregnant. I can't just leave her. I promise you'll always come first in my heart. She'll never take your place. Just stop this nonsense, okay? Alexander actually thought I was being unreasonable. I wiped away the tears. I was so upset. Alexander, I'm serious. I'm not being silly. If you have to choose between us, then let's just split up. We'll live our own lives. He looked surprised. His mouth pursed. He looked at me with mixed emotions. His face was very ugly. Olivia, do you really want to do this? Why do you care about all this? You're not well. You can't have children. Does that mean I'm not allowed to have someone else give birth to them for me? I need to continue the Williams family line. Besides, Sophia is pregnant now. She's no threat to you. Why are you being so cruel? The baby in her belly is mine. His tone was angry and reproachful. It hit me like a stone. It sent ripples through me. I closed my eyes in pain. 10 years ago, Alexander and I were the perfect couple at the University of Chicago. We started dating on campus, and naturally got married after graduation. I was born with heart disease. I was destined to live a harder life than ordinary people. So before we got married, we agreed we would not have children. Alexander's parents have never been happy about the fact that I can't have children. They keep saying, "The Williams family has such a big business. We need to have a child to carry on the family name." Alexander had a vasectomy so that his parents would stop nagging. I was very touched by this, and I felt more and more sorry for him. But a year ago, he hired a young nanny called Sophia to take care of me. She's in her early 20s. She's quite cute. From then on, everything started to change. Alexander has been making excuses lately not to sleep with me. He always says he's too late from work and doesn't want to disturb me. But I now understand. On those days when he doesn't sleep with me, he's actually with Sophia. 3 days ago, Sophia sent me her pregnancy test report directly. I just found out that they've been together for a year. You mean I'm heartless? Alexander, if I hadn't found out, how long were you going to keep it from me? Were you going to wait until the baby was born and it could say daddy? Are you saying that you did this to me and you don't feel bad about it? Alexander's expression was a little hesitant, but he quickly shook my hand. He promised me seriously, "Olivia, you're not in the best of health. I really can't bear to let you go through the pain of giving birth. Sophia and the baby are innocent. Let's compromise. I'll bring the baby to you after it's born." I gave a bitter smile. I interrupted him directly. "That's enough. Alexander, you've gone too far. You cheated on me for over a year without telling me, and now you want me to accept your third party and your child. You even want me to raise your bastard. You've really gone too far." Alexander fell silent. He no longer defended himself. He said to Olivia, "Olivia, I understand that you can't accept this now. That's okay. You can take your time. I've always been confident in my decision. Sophia and the baby, I can't give them up." After Alexander left, I sat there in a daze all night. The next day, I mechanically called my lawyer, asking them to prepare the divorce papers. Then, I hired a private investigator, asking him to follow Sophia around for a few days. Soon, the investigator sent me a bunch of photos, but I didn't have the courage to open them. Sophia moved into the Williams family mansion. Alexander's mother saw hope for her long-awaited grandchild. She immediately posted Sophia's pregnancy test on Instagram. She even wrote a caption full of joy. I'm going to be a grandmother. It wasn't long before strangers started leaving comments under the post. Olivia is pregnant. What a joyous occasion. Congratulations to you both. I replied without hesitation. I'm not pregnant. My mistress is pregnant. Just as I thought. My comment was deleted as soon as I posted it. Alexander's mother also blocked me, so I can no longer see her videos. Shortly afterwards, she sent me a series of messages on WhatsApp accusing me. What are you saying in the comments under my video? If you say things like that, what will people think of my grandson? He hasn't even been born yet. Do you want him to be stigmatized as a bastard? You're so jealous. You can't have children yourself, and you even encouraged my son to get a vasectomy. I haven't even got round to settling that score with you yet. You don't want to have children, but there are others who are willing to give birth to my son. Alexander's mother never really liked me. When Alexander and I first got married, she said I was in poor health, worried that I would have trouble getting pregnant. Then she heard that Alexander had had a vasectomy, and she was even more furious. She said I was the one who encouraged him to do it. From then on, she never gave me a kind look. Sophia was also introduced to Alexander by Alexander's mother. I think they probably arranged all this together. I was the only one who was kept in the dark. I wiped away my tears. While Alexander was away, I called my lawyer over. The divorce agreement was already prepared. I quickly signed my name on it. I asked the lawyer to help me with 3 things. First, to apply for immigration to Greece. Second, I gave the lawyer all the photos taken by the private investigator. I asked him to release them to the public once I was gone. The third thing was to handle my divorce proceedings. If Alexander didn't sign, I would sue him with all my strength. After explaining everything, I tried to calm down. I started packing. My home was full of traces of the love between Alexander and me. There were couple pillows on the sofa. Intimate wedding photos hung on the wall. There were also matching mugs and toothbrushes. These things in pairs were everywhere, but now they look particularly glaring. I packed them all up and threw them away. The house suddenly felt much emptier. 2 days later, I have basically packed my bags. The lawyer also informed me the immigration procedures to Greece have been completed. I can leave in 3 days. Alexander accompanied Sophia for 2 days. Today he finally returned home. There was someone else behind him. This is the first time I've seen Sophia since I found out about Alexander and Sophia's affair. She's supporting her still small belly with one hand. With the other, she's holding Alexander's arm. He's wearing a gentle smile. Olivia, Sophia wants to apologize to you in person. She feels really guilty. Alexander carefully guides Sophia to the sofa. I've moved a lot of things around the house. Alexander will notice if he pays attention. Unfortunately, his thoughts are now entirely on Sophia. You both already have children. The baby will be born soon. Is there really any need to apologize to me? Sophia hasn't said anything yet. She looks at Alexander with a face full of grievances. Alexander's face doesn't look very good. He says to Olivia, Olivia, Sophia is also well-intentioned. Why do you have to speak so harshly? I stand up. I look Sophia straight in the eye. Okay, you can speak. Tell me how you two got together. How did Alexander get you to this point? Didn't you say you wanted to apologize? Now get down on your knees. Explain everything clearly. I may not be so angry. Sophia's tears suddenly welled up. She choked and said, Olivia, sister, I truly love brother Alex. All the fault is mine. After saying that, she lowered her head. Alexander saw the scene, was full of pity. He hugged Sophia tenderly and comforted her softly. Sophia, it's not your fault. Alexander actually kissed her forehead in front of me. Alexander, you two are apologizing like this. I think you are deliberately pretending in front of me to make me uncomfortable. Didn't you say you wanted to apologize? Alexander frowned and said in a serious tone, you are crying and hugging here. This is not the place for you to make out. The pain in his eyes instantly disappeared. Olivia, you've gone too far. Why are you being so rude? Sophia really wants to apologize to you. If you don't accept it, that's fine. But why hurt people like this? I widened my eyes. Alexander actually said such an outrageous thing. Sure enough, his sincerity changed. Insult. How dare you say I'm insulting people? It's obvious that you walked up to me with a pregnant third party strutting around. Who is insulting whom? Alexander. I am the one who has suffered the most. What are you complaining about? My heart started racing. My chest felt tight. I sat down on the floor, covering my heart. Alexander realized that I had a heart attack. He immediately came forward to help me. I pushed him away. I shouted, "Don't touch me." Alexander's face showed signs of distress, but I felt that he was just pretending. He asked, "Is Olivia feeling unwell? Where are the pills? I'll help you back to your room and rest." I pushed his hand away. I said coldly, "Alexander, who is it that I have a heart problem with? Who are you trying to impress by acting like this?" Sophia quickly grabbed my arm. She said, "Olivia, sister, don't be upset. Brother Alex really cares about you. Let's talk calmly. All the fault is mine. Don't be angry with him anymore." Her tone made me even more angry. I managed to stand up. I shook off Sophia's hand. "I don't need your sympathy." Sophia took 2 steps back and fell into Alexander's arms. She exaggeratedly covered her stomach with her hands and let out a cry of pain. Alexander nervously and quickly checked Sophia's whole body, afraid that she was hurt. "Sophia, are you okay? Did you hit your stomach?" Sophia answered feebly, "Brother Alex, I'm fine. Olivia didn't mean it. She didn't use much force. You should help her to her room and let her rest." What a load of rubbish. And then, Alexander glared at me disapprovingly. "Olivia, you've gone too far. Sophia helped you out of kindness, and you repay her by being ungrateful. She's got a baby inside her. What you did was really inconsiderate." I held back the discomfort. "Alexander, can't you see the situation? Take a good look. Whose situation is worse now? How could I possibly have the strength to push her?" Sophia coughed a few times at the right moment. "Alexander is getting more and more annoyed with me." "Olivia, you really disappoint me. Still making excuses. I can see you're in good spirits. Deal with it yourself. I have to hurry and take Sophia to the hospital," Alexander said, hugged Sophia, and left in a hurry. I struggle to take a pill. It takes a while before I feel better. I feel sad. My husband used to care so much about me. Now he's left me when I've had a heart attack, to be with someone else. It's dark when Alexander sends me a few WhatsApps. "Olivia, feeling better? Did you take the pills? I was wrong just now. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. But you were wrong about Sophia. Sophia really cares about you. She even asked me to come back and see you. I really hope you can get along. Sophia's situation is not good at the moment. I'll come back to see you after a while. Your birthday is the day after tomorrow. I've got a surprise for you." Reading these words, I felt nothing. I coldly replied with a message. "No need. Just take care of her. I'm feeling better now." The day before I left the country, Alexander took me to the Williams family's old house. It was quite a lively setting. Alexander's father and mother sat expressionlessly on the sofa. Sophia sat on the other side. As soon as Alexander's mother saw me, her tone became a little sour. She said, "You really know how to put on airs. Alex has been giving us the cold shoulder to celebrate your birthday. Mom, today is Olivia's birthday. Let's all have dinner together as a family. And don't be so serious with Olivia." So this was the surprise Alexander had planned. He knew his parents weren't very friendly with me, but he still took me back to his old home. It was clearly intended to embarrass me. But I'm leaving for Greece tomorrow. I've let go of the past. Alexander's mother didn't say anything more. Alexander's father gave me a cold look and said, "I heard you had another heart attack. And you pushed Sophia." Sophia immediately said, "Mr. Williams, it's not Olivia's fault." Alexander's mother sat down next to Sophia. Holding her hand tightly, she said, "Oh dear, Sophia, you are always too easygoing and soft-hearted. If Olivia accidentally hurts my precious grandson, what would we do?" Alexander's father felt a surge of tension. Glaring at me, he said sternly, "Olivia, if you get sick, you should rest. If you bully Sophia again and hurt my grandson, the Williams family will never forgive you. I smiled slightly. I nodded calmly. My eyes held a deep meaning. I said to my parents, I will never appear in front of Sophia again. Alexander was silent for a while. Then he asked the maid to bring out the cake. He said, everyone stop talking. Today is Olivia's birthday, and the first time our family has been together. Alexander smiled and helped me light the candles. He said, Olivia, it's time to make a wish. Whatever you wish for, I will do my best to make it come true. He stared at me, his eyes full of apology and pleading. Is that true? He paused. I will promise you anything except Sophia and the baby. I responded with a smile. Alexander, don't worry. I won't touch the Williams family jewels. I immediately blow out the candles. I take a blank piece of paper and a black pen out of my bag. My wish is very simple. All you have to do is sign your name on this blank piece of paper. Everyone stares at me suspiciously. Before Alexander can say anything, his father starts questioning me. Olivia, what are you up to? What do you need this for? You're not thinking of using this against the Williams family, are you? Alexander's mother once again advised her son, Son, don't sign it. Who knows what Olivia will do with this piece of paper? You are the president of the Williams Group. Your name carries a lot of weight. I smiled at the nervous people. What's the matter? What are you worried about? I have been with the Williams family for so many years. Have I ever taken advantage of your family? On the contrary, you have always been after me. It's fine if you don't sign it. I won't force you. He finished. I reached for the paper. Alexander stopped me. He quickly picked up the black pen and signed his name. He said, Olivia, we are husband and wife. I trust you. I gently put the signed paper back in my bag. At that moment, Sophia suddenly covered her head. She fell to the ground. Alexander quickly ran over to help her up. His face was full of worry. Sophia, are you okay? You scared me. You look so pale. I'm fine. Alex, my dear, I'm a little tired. Today is Olivia's birthday. You should spend it with her. Don't worry about me. Alexander's mother is very worried. My dear, you can't think about your birthday now. Of course you have to take care of your health first. Did you move the baby? Alexander quickly picks her up. He says, I can't rest easy with you like this. I'm taking you to the hospital right now. Let the doctor check you out. Sophia looked at me again and whispered, but Alexander looked a little guilty, realizing that this was not right. He spoke tentatively. Olivia, Sophia is really not feeling well. I couldn't help rolling my eyes. Okay, Sophia has a child. She's the most important. You go take care of her. I'll go home first. Alexander nodded apologetically at me, and then went to the hospital with Sophia in his arms. As soon as I got home, I contacted my lawyer and asked him to come over. I handed the lawyer the blank piece of paper with the signature already printed on it. Mr. Carter, I already have Alexander's signature. Please prepare an agreement with his signature as soon as possible. I'm leaving for Greece tomorrow. This time I'm definitely getting a divorce from him. After arranging everything, I pushed my luggage to the airport. Before boarding, I received a message from Alexander. Olivia, happy birthday. I won't be home tonight. Sophia needs me. That's fine. Just come home. I have a surprise for you. I blocked Alexander's number from my phone. I was officially starting a new chapter in my life. I woke up. I was already in Greece. I had bought a house in a small town in advance. The view was beautiful. The sea breeze made me forget all my worries. Alexander had been busy all night. His mind was racing with thoughts of the surprise I had told him about. He hurried home, but when he opened the door, he saw a strange man sitting on the sofa. The strange man extended his hand to Alexander in a friendly manner. Mr. Williams. Hello. I am the lawyer Ms. Olivia hired. Carter. What did Olivia need a lawyer for? Where is she now? I thought you said there was a surprise waiting for me at home. Carter sees Alexander's confusion. He thoughtfully hands him the divorce papers. Olivia has already prepared the divorce papers, and you have already signed them. Have you forgotten? Alexander looks shocked. He grabs Carter by the collar and asks, what is going on? What signature? I have never signed anything. Suddenly, Alexander seems to remember something. He lets go of Carter's hand. She whispers, Olivia had arranged it all. Where was Olivia? Even if she had signed it, it wouldn't have been valid. There was now a divorce cooling off period. As long as I didn't admit it, she couldn't get a divorce. Carter seemed to have expected Alexander to deny it. He was prepared. He said, Mr. Williams, don't worry. Watch the news. Carter switched on the TV. A gossip story about the rich and famous was being broadcast. The news said, the president of the Williams Group has been having an affair for a long time. Now his lover has been exposed as being 3 months pregnant. The two were also photographed going home arm in arm. The screen was full of intimate photos of Alexander and Sophia. Apparently, Alexander's infidelity had been the talk of the town. Alexander sat on the floor in a daze. Carter continued, Mr. Williams, this is how Ms. Olivia decided to divorce. If you don't agree to a divorce amicably, Ms. Olivia has enough evidence to sue you. Alexander continued to press his question. Where is Olivia? If she wants a divorce, let her come and talk to me herself. If she doesn't show up, I won't agree to it easily. Carter shook his head. He said, I'm sorry, Mr. Williams. I really don't know. Ms. Olivia has only entrusted me with the divorce. I don't know anything else. I hope you can part amicably. Otherwise I will have to follow the rules. After Carter left, Alexander realized that there were many missing things in the house. Even the wedding photo on the wall had been taken down. He didn't know where it had been put. Alexander hurried into the bedroom. He found that the closet was already empty. There were no more belongings in the house that belonged to him. Alexander looked at the empty closet. His heart felt empty. He felt at a loss. He couldn't believe that I had really left so resolutely. He recalled the bits and pieces of our life together. His heart was full of remorse. He took out his mobile phone. He kept calling my number, but every time he heard the cold voice of the answering machine, the number you have dialed is not in service. Alexander finally understood that I had really gone. I was lying on the beach, basking in the sun. I held my mobile phone in my hand. I was reading the news from my home country. The stock price of Williams Group had plummeted because Alexander had been exposed as a cheater. Shareholders have demanded that Alexander be removed from his position as CEO. Meanwhile, the most active people are the netizens who are following this matter. This is men. When they love, they are willing to do anything for you, even get a vasectomy. Once they don't love you anymore, they may betray you. It turns out that you can have an illegitimate child after a vasectomy. How many words from men can you believe? I heard that the nanny who takes care of Olivia was actually hired by Alexander. In addition, Olivia has already filed for divorce. If a man doesn't know how to love himself, he's like those rotten vegetable leaves. He's lost his value and dignity. Reading these comments, I couldn't help but laugh. It felt so good. Alexander must be having a hard time. Just as I expected, Alexander has been slouching around the house for 2 days. He's locked himself in his room all day drinking. Sophia and Alexander's parents, Alexander's mom and dad, are at their wits' end. That day, Alexander's dad couldn't hold back any longer. He had Alexander's door broken down. As soon as the door opened, a strong smell of alcohol hit him. Alexander's father saw Alexander's listless appearance. He was anxious and angry. Alex, what time is it? You're still drinking. The company is about to hold a shareholders meeting. They want you to step down. Alexander couldn't hear anything. He kept mumbling, Olivia said she wants a divorce. Olivia said she wants a divorce. Alexander's mother angrily slaps Alexander. Don't talk to me about that girl. If she hadn't exposed the photos of you and Sophia, would our family be in this mess? Divorce. Then divorce. As if our family can't live without her. This way you can be with Sophia without any problems. Alexander shouts at his mother. I will never divorce Olivia. Alexander cries. I'm going to find Olivia. I want Olivia back. His tears kept flowing. Sophia was not happy about this, but she still gently comforted him. Alex, my dear brother, don't be too sad. Olivia is gone, but I'm still here. The two of us and the baby will always be by your side. Alexander suddenly stood up, his eyes fixed on Sophia. Sophia felt a little uneasy. She asked, Alex, my dear brother. Why are you looking at me like that? Sophia, don't pretend you don't know. When Olivia was still here, I could still play with you. But now that Olivia has been driven away by you, I won't be polite with you anymore. Brother Alex, what are you talking about? I had nothing to do with Olivia's leaving. Alexander grabbed Sophia's wrist tightly and said coldly, don't pretend. Olivia knew about us. You're the one who told her. You want to take her place. I already told you Olivia's place in my heart you can never take. Sophia listened. Her heart was aggrieved, but she didn't know what to say. Alexander suddenly broke out into a crazed smile. He stared intently at Sophia's stomach. Olivia doesn't like you, and neither does the baby in your stomach. If only you two would disappear, Olivia would come back. Sophia covered her stomach, hiding behind Alexander's parents, Alexander's father, Alexander's mother. Alexander's father was so angry that he slapped Alexander and scolded, you good for nothing. You actually don't care about your own child for a woman. I think you should calm down. If something happens to my grandson, I will never let you go. Alexander crouched on the ground in pain. He burst into tears. I'm slowly getting used to life in Greece. I opened a small flower shop here. Life is pretty good. But today there was an unexpected guest in the shop. Olivia. You really are in Greece. It's been 2 months. Alexander looks haggard, but his face is still handsome. How did you find me here? If I really want to find you, nothing is impossible. I don't want to think about it anymore. I found you. What's next? We're divorced. Alexander, we have nothing to do with each other now. Please leave. Don't interfere with my business here. Alexander listened to me. He seemed frustrated. His voice was full of grievance and sadness. Do you dislike me that much now? You didn't even say goodbye. Do you know how I've been getting by these past 2 months without you? Seeing him like this made me feel really bad. Aren't you going to be a father soon? You should be pretty busy. If I remember correctly, in a few months you'll be able to live the life of a happy family with your wife and child. Isn't that what you've always wanted? Alexander looked hurt. He said, Olivia, can you stop talking like that? You know very well that you are the person I care about most. If you weren't here, what would all this be worth to me? I didn't look at him again. I just got on with what I was doing. Alexander, after 2 months apart, you're still the same. You're still so selfish. You haven't changed at all. If you say so, I should just follow you around all the time, watching you with other women with the kids. Right. He quickly waved his hand and said, Olivia, you're misunderstanding. What I mean is, without you, my life would be colorless. I put down the flowers in my hands, looked up and asked, really, these 2 months of being away from you have been the most carefree days of my life. I didn't have to look at your parents' faces, and I didn't have to watch you and Sophia put on an act. I now understand. I really was able to tolerate it before. Alexander suddenly interjected. Don't say anymore, Olivia. I know I was wrong. In the future I will try my best to make it up to you. In the future I will take you to a place where there is no Sophia, and no parents to disturb. His hand rested on mine. I felt uncomfortable. I immediately pulled my hand back. Don't you understand? I don't love you anymore. I don't want to start over with you. I can't accept your infidelity. I hate people like that. Please go back to where you came from. Don't bother me anymore. Thank you. After he finished speaking, I ignored him. I turned around and went to deliver flowers to a customer who had made an appointment. Alexander came to see me for several days in a row. I kept the door closed and refused to see him. Later, I heard that his parents had picked him up. I finally felt relieved. Just then, I received a phone call. The orphanage called. They said the director was very ill. He might not last long. I grew up in the orphanage. The director was like a parent to me. I immediately bought a plane ticket and rushed back. As soon as I got off the plane, I went straight to the city hospital to visit the director. I had made a promise with the other children in the orphanage. We would spend the last days of the director's life together. One day, while I was looking after the director in the hospital, I was knocked over by a stretcher being pushed past. The nurse apologized. I looked down and rubbed my arm. I realized that the stretcher contained Alexander, with his eyes closed and a look of pain on his face. When I went to get lunch at noon, I heard two young nurses gossiping again. Have you heard? Alexander is back in our hospital. He's been coming in a lot lately. He's always been in for injuries from fights or alcohol poisoning. Ever since his divorce from Olivia, he's been like this. His parents are beside themselves with worry. A while ago, he had a huge fight with a third party. He forced the other person to have an abortion. Alexander's deep feelings came too late. His ex-wife has already turned a blind eye to him. Unexpectedly, Alexander asked Sophia to have an abortion. The Williams family's problems no longer stirred anything in me. I just took it as a piece of gossip. The director died one quiet evening. The consolation was that she didn't suffer. I was planning to go back to Greece. But then Alexander's mother suddenly came to see me. The arrogance and impatience in his face had disappeared. In its place was deep fatigue and pleading. Olivia, just say it. I poured her a cup of tea, maintaining basic courtesy. She took the tea. After a moment of hesitation, she finally spoke. Olivia, can you and Alex get back together? He's been in a bad way lately. He can't live without you. He never took care of his health. He kept going to the hospital. I've done a lot of things wrong. If you're willing to go back to Alex, I promise I'll treat you well. I'll never be like I was before. I didn't want to hear any more from this kind of person. I interrupted her. Auntie, Alexander is about to become a father, but he is still so immature. It doesn't matter to me what kind of person he becomes. I know it's really inappropriate for me to say these things so bluntly, but is there really no way for you to make things right? After all, you have so many years of foundation. It takes 10 years to get on the same boat. It takes 100 years to sleep together. If I hadn't interfered, you wouldn't be in this situation. So she knows. That's enough. Mrs. Williams, if you've just come over for a chat, then please go. Her hand trembled, and the tea spilled onto the table. Oops, I'm so sorry. I took the paper towel and gently wiped it up, speaking in a deep voice. It's okay. It's just spilled tea. Wipe it up with paper towel and it'll dry. But people are different. Once something happens, it can never be undone. Alexander's mother didn't say anything more. At the airport on the way to Greece, I ran into Alexander again. He looked thinner. He was carrying bags of luggage. He said directly to me, Olivia, I'm going to Greece with you. I'm going to woo you again. I suppressed my resentment and looked at him impatiently. It seems that I didn't make myself clear earlier. Alexander, I'll say it again. I don't love you anymore. Please leave me alone. If you continue like this, I will sue you for harassment. He shook his head vigorously, trying to deny what I said. You're lying. If you don't love me, why did you come back to China? I know everything. You were in the hospital those days you came back to China. You must have visited me every day. It feels like I'm being targeted by bad luck. I can't get rid of it. You're overreacting. I went to the hospital to take care of the director of the orphanage where I grew up. Your situation has nothing to do with me, he assured me, visibly agitated. Olivia, things can still turn around. I've found a way for us to start over. Please give me another chance. He suddenly became very strange. He kept repeating the same sentence over and over again. As long as Sophia and her child are gone, Olivia will come back to me. Have you gone crazy? Alexander, what the hell are you trying to do? Alexander suddenly pushed me away and ran away. My eyelids kept twitching. An uneasy feeling welled up in my heart. I was very uneasy. In the end, I changed the flight ticket to Greece. I got up and went to the police station. I asked the police to help me find Alexander. According to the location, Alexander was in a small villa in the suburbs. The police and I had just arrived there. Before we pushed the door, we heard a scream from inside the house. The police were shocked. They rushed in immediately. The floor was covered in broken glass and blood. Alexander was cutting Sophia's stomach open with a knife. Sophia was unconscious. She was lying on the floor, pale. Alexander was holding a bloody mess in his hands. He had a strange smile on his face. The air was filled with the stench of blood. The police officer and I witnessed the scene. We were too shocked to say a word. Alexander saw me standing in the doorway. He came trembling up to me. His eyes were pleading. Olivia, I've had Sophia's baby aborted. There will be no more children between us. There are no more obstacles between us. Olivia, come back. Alexander's eyes are full of madness. He looks like a demon from hell. I'm so scared that I quickly hide behind the policeman. Alexander sees my terrified eyes. He bursts into uncontrollable sobs again. You don't have to worry. I've taken care of them. There are no more problems between us. I can't help but frown. Alexander, you've gone too far. You've hurt your own child. I did all this for you. Everything I did was for you. Why won't you ever forgive me? I've come this far, but you still won't come back to me. He lunged at me, but the police restrained him in time. Sophia was barely breathing. She was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. Eventually, Alexander was sentenced to 10 years in prison for attempted murder. However, he could not face reality. He chose to slit his wrists in prison. Before he died, he asked his lawyer to transfer all his assets to me. I thought about it for a while and decided to donate all of Alexander's assets to a charitable foundation to help those in need. After taking care of these matters, I returned to Greece. I enjoy the tranquility of the Aegean Sea.